Hey there. If you enjoy my work, please take a moment to like the video. I need your help if I'm going to resurrect this channel. Imagine living your life knowing that around any given corner, there may be a faceless humanoid staring at you through the wall. Stay tuned for a bonus mini-story taken from Japanese folklore as we discuss some strange encounters with faceless people. Hello, Mr. X. My name is Ethan. If I do say so myself, I have a very disturbing series of encounters to share with you. I'm in my mid-20s now, but when I was younger, around 7 or so, my mom used to take me with her whenever she had a holiday from her work. She worked at a financial company. We would drive down to Huntington Beach, a huge metropolitan area in Southern California. Those drives were so peaceful. I was incredibly fond of staring out the window of my mom's car, watching the world fade into a blur. I loved seeing the colors of the other vehicles, street signs and pedestrians going by. I still remember the first time I saw something truly strange though. It caught me completely off guard. One time I happened to glance over into the cab of another car to see who was driving. What I saw was burned into my memory that very instant. Where I was expecting to see a normal human being, there sat a simple, yet grotesque image. A seemingly humanoid body, but the face, well, there wasn't one there. The best way I could describe it is this. Imagine a sheet of fleshy, flat fabric, stretched over a smooth dome where a face should be. There were no eye, nose, or mouth holes at all. It was just a mass of skin, devoid of any features. As soon as I realized what I was looking at, the head snapped around to face me directly. Even stranger is that I didn't see the head move at all. It was like it turned instantly, skipping all the frames in between and looking straight forward, then at me. I felt a sharp pang of dread shoot down my spine into my stomach, along with a sickly chill. As one would expect, I was extremely frightened and quickly ducked down behind the protection of the car door. After a few seconds, I convinced myself that what I was seeing wasn't real, that my eyes were somehow playing tricks on me. I raised my head back up to look again, and that barren desert of a face was still staring right at me. It hadn't moved at all. As I looked around, searching for something else to replace this terrifying image, I saw 2 other people without faces in traffic around our car. A male wearing a business suit stared from a sedan. A younger fellow with a green t-shirt drove a truck. They all stared, faceless. I didn't realize at the time because I was so young, but now that I think about it, it was crazy that these things were staring at me for what felt like minutes on end, without so much as a glance at the road they were driving on. No matter how many times I looked away, they were always staring right at me. I remember the feeling of being overwhelmed with a sense of malice radiating from whatever the creatures were, as if they despised me and wanted to hurt me. I was scared to mention these things to my mother. Maybe I didn't want to ruin her vacation. I don't know. I had one other encounter with what I believed to be the same type of cryptid, or whatever they are, this breed of faceless humanoids. It was a couple of years later when I was around 9 or 10 years old. My mother and I were visiting Huntington Beach again. This time, we had gone to the library, a place we often sought out to relax in the peaceful setting and take in some light reading. Not to mention the grounds were beautiful, full of lush greenery and fresh air. Mom and I were walking hand in hand, enjoying the bright, sunny day for all it was worth. As we strolled, I noticed a young woman jogging toward us on the path. She looked to be in her mid-20s if I had to guess. Very athletic looking. She wore a purple tank top and blue leggings. I guess I might have been checking her out a bit because the last thing I noticed was her face. The fact that, like the others, it wasn't there. As soon as I realized this, her head snapped over to face me. It was almost like a visual glitch, just teleporting to a new position. I was so scared that my body began shaking. The memories of seeing those things in the cars just a few years prior rushed back into my head. The woman tracked my gaze as she ran closer to us. I could feel her staring intently despite the lack of eyes. I suddenly got the feeling that she was no longer just jogging, but that she was actually coming after me. Fortunately, she just kept on running. A few moments later, and she was gone into the distance. It was then that I noticed that the emotion I got from her was different than the malevolence of the others. The feeling she gave me was one of confusion, as if she was wondering how I could possibly have seen her. It seemed like she was just as eager to get away from me as I was from her. The more I thought about it, I realized that there were people walking to and fro all over the library grounds, and no one seemed to react to the presence of a faceless person there. She was somehow only visible to me, no one else. It was these encounters that sparked my current interest in the world of cryptozoology. I have found that people are encountering these things more often than one might imagine. Faceless people are occasionally seen peering out of the windows of homes across the street, or maybe watching you through a car window as you pass them by in traffic. Who knows? There may even be one staring silently in your direction right now. Okay guys, I added that line in just for fun. To this day, I really have no idea what they truly are. My best theory is that they're a race of beings that live alongside us, blending in while, all the while, they're anything but human. Anyway, let me know what you think. Sincerely, Ethan. Alright my friends, Mr. X Dreams here. So I looked into the concept of faceless people and found a variety of different sources of information. The first thing I wanted to bring to your attention was the Nopera Bo, or faceless ghost of Japanese folklore. So not long ago I was being interviewed on another podcast when someone mentioned Japanese yokai type of monster. Apparently there are hundreds of these creatures in Japanese folklore. There's a particular one that looks like a human but has no face. So I'll share this quick little tale with you. It's a tale called The Nopera Bo and the Koi Pond. The story, to go briefly over it, describes a lazy fisherman who decides to fish in the imperial koi ponds near a palace in a bygone era in ancient Japan, basically. Now, despite being warned by his wife about the pond being sacred, the fisherman decides to do what he does best anyway, go there and fish. On his way to the pond, he's warned by another fisherman not to go there, but he again ignores the warning. Once he arrives at the spot, he's met by a beautiful young woman who pleads with him not to fish in the sacred pond. He ignores her too, and to his horror, she walks up to him and wipes off her own face, revealing herself to be a faceless humanoid. So, this fisherman rushes home to hide, and he's then confronted by his wife, who chastises him for his wickedness and presumably his inability to avoid being an idiot and a jerk. So she yells at him before wiping her face off as well. So you're left wondering, is that even his wife, or has she been possessed by some kind of crazy faceless person spirit or something like that? It's a really interesting story. So I've been in situations where I thought I saw someone missing a face, but whenever I give it a second look, it was just, everything is as it should be. And I shudder to imagine what feeling would come over me if I ever found myself staring directly into a featureless skin bag of a void where a face should be. And that must be really disturbing. Another thing I wanted to mention was the fact that there are several clinical medical conditions where seeing distorted faces or other hallucinations are common symptoms. Schizophrenia and dementia are just a couple of these. So I would assume that, although that's a possibility, our friend Ethan would have realized it by now if he was suffering from that level of mental health crisis, especially at such an early age, 7 to 10 years old. It's pretty unlikely. So other than that, I really don't quite know what to make of this, so I'll turn the questions over to you. Do you think that certain people are really faceless ones in disguise walking among us? If there were such things, what would you imagine they'd be after? What would their purpose be? Would you say this has a psychological explanation, something more mundane? As you know, we like to explore on this channel as well. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. And now, it's time to hear what the dreamers listening live have to say. Remember, if you want a chance at your question or comment showing up in a future video, turn on notifications so you catch the live reading and discussion. Alright, so LittleOwl says, I heard a story about someone getting on a train which was full of faceless humanoids. Creepy, especially because the train didn't technically exist, as they missed the last one for the night. Holy moly. That's like, imagine being at the train station, it's late, you know you're running late, you don't realize that you've already missed the last train, the train comes in, and then suddenly you realize once you get on the train and the whole thing is full of faceless people staring at you, you realize that that train isn't even supposed to be there in the first place. That's when, to me, that's when you probably want to just jump off the train, bust a window out, and before the train gets all the way up to speed, get the heck out of there. And yeah, no, that's a no-go. We're not doing that. Alright, Brett says, I've seen a mouthless entity but still kinda had facial features, i.e. cheekbones, opal blue eyes, sort of short but almost not a nose, reddish skin, black and gold cloth hood. Yeah, Brett, you might want to share that story with me in an email. Send me an email or something sometime and maybe we'll talk about that on the channel in the future. I'm always looking for submissions and stories from subscribers. Those are the best. Gabe Mesa says, I've never seen a faceless being before, but once I saw an invisible girl who was equally surprised as I was that I actually saw her. She was in an open closet looking out when I saw her and we made full eye contact. She immediately ducked back into the closet. I got up to search the closet for her and when I did, she was gone. No trace. That's pretty crazy as well. That's crazy, Gabe, and I'm really curious to know what that was. So anyway, my friends, those were the comments from the people who were listening live, the dreamers, some of my favorite individuals. So that's what I'm going to end this story on, this video on. If you're still listening to this, work the word face off into your comment down below. That's the code word for today. Face off. Get creative. Make it nice. Dope. I like it. I love it. I love you. And if you're listening to this, you're the real MVP. I appreciate you. Y'all take care, my friends. Until next time. This episode was sponsored by dreamers like you. Samantha, Cindy S., Lorie Long, Ina Cook, Leann, Ellie, Ambar, Zen 2011, Shinfitz, Terico, Reuk, LittleOwl, Dolly, Priscilla, Sylvia, AestheticWaif. Thank you all so much. All right. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, don't forget to like and share. If you made it to the very end, you're exactly the kind of subscriber I'm looking for. Don't forget to turn on those notifications. That way, you can catch the live show and discuss the stories with me. Your input might even appear in my next video. Last thing, if you heard a code word after the story, type it in a comment down below so I know who the real dreamers are. Take care, my friend. Until next time.